Hi, welcome to PHP MySQL video. This is a list of suggestions how you should use this video. Okay, the notes for this video can be found at this URL, which is loaded here. All right, so we want to do some error checking functions. So I have the file here opened, and we finish most of the things we need to do for things we need for most of the exercises, okay? So you do not need to add error checking function if the user never requested, your assignment didn't request it. You don't need to do that, but it's something good to do, right? It's just something extra, okay? So now we have a little issues here because if you ask user to key in amount and obviously say, we only speak English here, we don't use numbers. So somebody say 1,000. All right, English, right? Good English. And your program obviously cannot take 1,000 text. So when you calculate, the user say, hey, I borrowed nothing and I own the bank nothing. The bank have to give me $1,000. And it's like, yeah, that's not going to work. But the user say, your program says that, right? So you have to honor it. And then they sue you and then you lose your job. That's not very good. Okay. So we have to do some kind of error checking here. Another thing is if the user key in nothing, you also, now that is not so bad as the user key in 1,000. Okay. That would be really bad. So what is going to happen is you have to fix that. Okay, to fix that, we go back to our code. So we have our input here. We want to show some kind of error message. So the investment, I don't need that anymore. Let me just close this. The investment actually comes here, right? And if it's not a floating point number, what happens is you are going to get something called false. Investment is going to be false, okay? And if it's false, the future value will be false, and you start calculating, it becomes 0. Okay, that's where the problem is. So here, what you can do is you need to check if the investment is false, something is going to happen. Okay, so if the investment is false, okay, this is a Boolean, so you need to use 3 equals. 2 equal is equal in value. 3 equal is equal in value and type. So it's definitely a false. Value and type. We are going to create a new variable called error message. Oh, just want to mention PHP is half case sensitive. Okay, PHP variable names are case sensitive, but the names of functions are not case sensitive. So these are the case sensitive stuff, and these are the not case sensitive stuff. Mainly because it's open source, a couple of people develop it, and probably they cannot get along or something. So we just treat PHP as case sensitive. Okay, just to be safe. So when you code, just remember it's mostly case sensitive. So case sensitive. So we create error message. Investment must be a valid number. So now if you key in 1,000, you still get 0, but at least error message is, so you can actually echo. Error message. So now you get a error message, and you still get the output. So the error message is not useful unless you send the user back. Okay? So instead of just echoing error message, let me just comment out. We say that if the error message, okay, if the investment is false, you get that, or else error message is nothing. Okay. And then here, if error message is not equal to nothing, we send the user back to the first page. And then we exit the program, exit this page. Okay, so now if we have 1000, we send the user back to the first page. Okay, realize the URL never changed because we use include statement. What happened is user just copy every code, the program copy all the code here and paste it below here. So if you look at the view source here, although you see the code of the first page, you are actually still looking at the second page. For this file, this is okay, but for later what we do, this is actually not the correct thing to do things, not the correct way to do things. But when we do example 8, example 9, we're going to fix that. But right now we just say, yeah, we just include all the code. It will work for now. Okay. But if you send the user back, say let the user key in 1000, and you send the user back, user will be like very confused. I can proper English 1000. Why do you reject me? Okay, your program sucks. So that's not good. So you have to explain to the user, no, you need to key in a number. Okay, so you go back to the first page. You have to like create error message, tell the user. Okay, if the error message is not empty, so this is not empty. If the error message is not empty, okay, this is the interesting part. We can echo a HTML here, but we can also do like break the PHP and the PHP and start the PHP again. So this part is PHP. This part is PHP, but here in the middle is HTML. Okay? So we can say P class equal to error, and say if the error message is not empty, we say the bad person. Okay? So you key in 1000, calculate, you get bad person. Of course, that is not a good error message. People are like, why do you scold me, right? You shouldn't put bad person. You should put like, what is the actual error message, which we put it here. Okay. Also something I want to mention, because you use include statement, the PHP program treat this file, part of this file. So error message, although it's declared here, you can be seen here. So you can do, so now it's PHP, HTML, PHP. Okay. In this part, we are going to change to PHP again. So we replace this with echo. We can just echo error message, but sometimes people can do some kind of injection attacks. So we want to be more secure. We do a HTML special characters. Get rid of any special characters. So wherever the error message is, will be shown properly. So we have 1000 here. And now we have investment must be a valid number. I probably need a BR here. Control S to save. Okay, let's try that again. And we calculate investment must be a valid number. Okay. But then user will be like, what do you mean investment must be a valid number? Investment is gone. What did I key in? I cannot remember. Humans. I cannot remember. I didn't do anything wrong. So what you can do is you should actually, under the value here, show what the investment is. So remember this is HTML. So now we have to do PHP. So we put PHP here. So now this is PHP. And then we echo HTML special characters for safety. The investment where the user first key in, which is here, capture here, we send the value back and put it here. So now if you key in 1000, and you calculate, oops, did I save? Let me save. Oops, sorry, correction. So you won't be able to see anything because this is still false. Okay, but it will work in other cases. We are going to talk about that later. Okay, so what other cases we're going to look at is, let's say you key in 1000. And then you key in yearly interest is 20, which is key in correct. Number of years is 30, which is correct. And you calculate, all will be gone. Okay. So here you want to keep the old interest rates. So what you want to do is you want to put this as PHP and number of years as, okay. And then you echo HTML special characters, interest rate and years. I'm just going to copy here. And then here is interest rate. And here is years. Okay, so now if you key in 1000 and interest rate is 20, a number of years is 30, and you calculate, you keep the correct values, you just get rid of the wrong values. Okay, so that will help you to keep the correct values. All right, before we move on, I just want to mention that there's something else we need to do, because if you run this file for the first time, this won't work. So if you run this file for the first time by deleting the old files, so the memory is gone, you do the input first time, you have some error messages here, really scary. It's like, what is this? So if you copy those, and let me put it somewhere here. So if you copy the whole thing, right? So this is a HTML warning, say that undefined variable investment. So what is going on is, if you load the file for the first time, the input will try to do certain things like, hey, I'm going to, okay, I loaded for the first time. If error message is fine, right? It's not empty, then I do this. If it's empty, I won't do this. That's fine. But if you come over here, I try to HTML special character investment. investment is not defined. It's only defined after you key in the value for the first time. So you get error message, and you probably get error message for interest rate and get error message for years. So let's see the interest rate. And you get error message for interest rate undefined, okay? So they don't like it. So before you even do it, go further, you have to solve what if you run the program for the first time. So here, before we even start the file, what we can do is we can set default value of variables for initial page load. So if so it's a very simple if statement. If the interest rate is not set at all, not you're loading the file for the first time, investment is not set, we say investment is empty, just set it. Okay, so that will solve the error of the first one. But you still set an error, you still get error for the second and third. So you just copy this 3 times. Second one is interest rate. And third one is, of course, years. Control C, Control V. So now if you load it for the first time, all is good. Okay. And then we can take care of the borrow amount error message. Investment must be a valid number. Okay. Now, but what if I key in, I try to give money to the bank. I give the money, I give $100 to the bank. I say I have $100, I lend it to you. You pay me interest rate. I put in a minus number. The bank is going to give you $23,000 in 30 years. Of course, the bank will say, no, I'm not going to give you that. But then you will be like, yeah, your programmer programmed the website that allow you to do that. So we have to fix this problem as well. So to fix this, we cannot take negative numbers. So in the process, we say that if the investment is false, you do this. Else if, okay, so now we have else if loop, else if block here. Else if the investment is less than 0, less than or equal to 0, okay, if the investment is less than 0, the error message will be investment must be press to save. So now they'll say investment must be greater than 0. And they actually keep the value because it's number. Okay? So now the problem will be, what if this guy key in 20 here? Oh, sorry, 1,000 and then 20. And my program still crash. It's like I borrowed 20% and so you have to do that not only for investment, you have to do the same thing for interest rate and do the same thing for years. So your if-else statement here will be really long. Okay, but that will make my video too long. You know how to do that now, you know the logic. So on my website, if you want to look at it, if you want to look at the website, under process, there's a whole how to validate the interest rate and years and all the good stuff. My video won't cover that, or else that will be another 20 minutes. So a little bit more in the in the example, but not covered in the video. If you want, you can look at the code. And of course, mortgage rate was not calculated as well. Okay. Again, this error checking is not really required for most assignments, and it's not required to learn PHP. But if you want to do a real website, error checking is essential. Okay. All right. So that's all for now. That concludes very nicely the example 3. Okay. All right. That's a good place to stop, and see you soon in the next group of videos.